Ladies and gentlemen, how you all doing? This is Con Ulrich.
And this is Rangru. Hello, hello, hello.
And folks, I know that Season 6 is done for a lot of you out there, but we decided that we're going to go back for some more of it. Yes, we are turning towards the Division 5 semifinals. Going on today over here in Orsha East, Rang, who are these two fine gents and what are they bringing on in to break?
On the left-hand side in the blue, we have Von Lucy playing as the Finnish Pansar division with a balanced income. Right-hand side in the red, we have Xstark playing as the first French with a maverick income.
Ah, Stark, the French are coming. So, but kind of excited for this. I know I said to you kind of off cam that we haven't done a whole lot of French Foreign Legion here, so a whole lot. I'm not saying never, because I have been reliably informed by people whose views I trust, that we have definitely done them before, but what should we be expecting going on here?
First French, pretty damn awesome division, lots of very good infantry and lots of air power play. And we've seen Finnish Panzer division, quite a bit recently. I quite like casting their matches, frankly. And they're just, also good infantry, but some pretty fun tanks as well. And on a map like this, and also East, where it's very close quarters centric, both divisions should prove to perform rather well.
The other thing that kind of excites me a little bit here is if we're looking at the French Foreign Legion. The French Foreign Legion's got a ton of just fanatical troops, which is quite exciting, It's different. It's very, very different.
Yeah, and they got a pretty decent loadout with the TNT charges. So they're right decent in CQC, and also the bars, I believe, work in CQC as well. They don't have a 100-meter stop.
Yeah, I don't think they do either. So it's actually going to be quite interesting to see. So the Jakari against the Legionnaire down south, for example, just in case we're, still needing to see a tail of the tape on this one, we are going to see just lots of Thompsons, see lots and lots of M19s. And yeah, Jakari out in the open, get carved to pieces. Of course, that is certainly helped by those light Stuarts out there, too.
Yeah, Xstark pretty much has got a very good position down south and has managed to catch Von Lucy with his pants down out in the open. So that's going to be a Southern Forest to him. Or the Blenheim coming in. Is he going to do much?
Well,
no.
He hasn't got his load yet, so...
Oh, that's a bit anticlimactic. But apart from that, just looking at the rest of the map, Khan, it's pretty even. There's no real crazy pushes in the center. Both sides has kind of got a little piece of the hill, and up north is, as usual, very quiet.
I'm sorry, I was watching as this Wildcat over here unsheathes his own claws, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see maybe the Blenheim go down. Wow, I would have thought the 412-7... There we go. I was going to say, I thought the 412-7 to be more than enough to take down that craft, but taking a sweet time to get there.
Indeed, indeed. And down south, just seeing Xstark is pushing right on through here. He's actually going to be, pushing out of the forest. A ballsy move. But if he does work and he can get into that cover behind the pack gun, that's a really good position to be in.
And the thing, too, is that coming on in is a 20 mil and a T28, so, yeah, things are not going to be too easy for them to kind of shift on through. Of course, he did drop a couple of his Stuarts, and wow, actually, if you look at the road, that is not a pretty sight.
No. No, it is not. We're seeing that ISU being brought in as well. Some heavy firepower to try and deal with Xstark's rather aggressive push here. Brewster and Wildcat going at it. I do love how both divisions have very obscure aircraft available.
Well, yeah, and not exactly a Finnish craft, and not exactly a French craft either.
Both American.
Yes, boy, please.
Yeah, that's both American aircraft, so...
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, looking elsewhere in the center of town, we have ourselves Marquis Sards facing off against these, I'm not even going to try again, as usuals. But there's a 45 mil, which I think is going to be able to be surprisingly annoying. Engaging a lot of that early material coming on in. And a hero infantry unit, which is so fascinating to me. Just, who does that?
I don't know the history behind that one, unfortunately. Yeah, we don't really see hero infantries. Last time was really an ST-44.
The old big Richie Winters over there.
Yeah, and
Marauder, by the way,
A.B. Howard.
Yep. Marauder plastering just a couple of small positions. And the T-28 down south going to prove decisive because other than that, there's really not any kind of anti-tank material down in that particular theater. So it's a bit of a hassle there.
Yeah, I mean, Von Lucy should be able to finally stabilize south a little bit. I mean, he's got some of the anti-tank infantry being brought in, but they're not going to perform too well against Mackey Sarge with those Molotovs at close range. It's really coming down to the armor to come in clutch and just provide a bit of fire support.
It certainly will be the case. Unfortunately for the T-28, he's got to actually go and kill every last one of those Legionnaires. So, not much to be done. It's going to heat up in the middle, though, as Jean Trenap over here is kind of coming across no man's land. Jakari getting forced back. And with that Stewart right there, he's not going to kill that Sotka 76. I think he needs something a little bit heavier than what he's bringing to the table. But he might at least have, make him rather unsteady.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great push for the most part here from Xstark, but the main problem is that lack of anti-tank material. I mean, he can flank at T-34, maybe breathe the other Stewart, but you got a 45mm, got a pretty good coverage down in that lane, yeah, so if that Stewart does move up a bit more, he'll probably get plastered.
I am mildly amused by the fact that the Marquis Sarge's like, he's coming, quick, throw a Molotov in front of him. That will definitely terrify him. Yes, boys.
Yeah. You need to hit the engine deck.
Exactly. The Call of Duty kill. Looking to the north, that's Rallier AEF. So those are technically, I want to say, just like French, let's say, native contingent.
Yeah.
So, poor guys in the meantime, though. They have a super decent loadout. It's just really just bolt actions, though. They're not really meant to do crazy pushes.
Yeah, the first French is very, like, diverse infantry loadouts in general, so it's all over the place. I mean, a little less focus on M1 Garand and more of the P17 rifles, which is, a little bit flavorful. I'd kind of, honestly, prefer to have an M1 Garand over a 1979 field.
Well, clearly what that means is that you just don't like having your thumbs.
Yes. A thumbless man.
Well, never mind. Let's just leave that alone for now. It is 14:10 though, so as we are very, very quickly approaching Phase B, I'm kind of surprised that Von Lucy brought a balanced income to a Maverick match. Is that just oversight, do you think, or what do you think the heck is going on here?
It is also quite interesting because he is playing Finnish Panzer Division, which honestly I'd say is a bit more of a phase, B phase division, as you don't have a whole lot of C phase cards. And even, especially in the tanks, you really have no C phase tanks. But yeah, he is built pretty heavy for that B phase, of course. But we'll see how it has to go for him. I mean, if he can survive till C phase, he's gonna have that double income.
I think that's true, but this is one of those things that as we're kind of looking at this hither and yon, Xstark also does not have the same kind of, let's say, vehicle availability.
No, he has a decent amount of Wolverine, so I feel like he's not going to be too bad off in terms of vehicles. But yes, his anti-tank in general is a little bit more lacking, of course. But he's doing really well with infantry, and that's, I think, going to be the more important thing on this map.
So it definitely will be the case, I think, overall. We are going to see the Bimps to the north taking on, again, I feel like the Finns are really, really good, but the Bimp infantry is just, oof, choice.
Yeah, and he's like Ito Juntas, they're alright. They do have the satchel charge, but really, Yakari are the way to go most of the time with the Finnish, just the Finns in general. The Yakaris are such fantastic infantry.
Well, the problem is, though, is that these don't have the same kind of availability that you might see in other divisions, though, too.
The Yakari?
No,
yeah. Yeah, the thingies with the anti-tank rifles.
The biggie booms, yes.
Yeah. Not bad against all the potential half-tracks, but in these, forest fights, not performing all that well. And good firepower support with the P-47. Blowing up out machine gun. And yeah, Xstark is putting really good pressure all over, which is exactly what he needs to be doing with his Maverick income. And he's just, poking good holes into Von Lucy's lines.
It certainly is the case. I am checking out consistently how these Brewster Buffaloes are like a hit squad, did not really expect to be afraid of Brewster buffaloes. But I imagine when you do get any kind of buffaloes in a herd, they can definitely cause some issues.
Yeah. Very outdated plane, but with that 2-star veterancy, it improves their agility by quite a bit. And they are very cheap. So, they're very interesting aircraft. Apparently they performed actually pretty well in the Finnish service against the Russians, which is contrary to their Pacific War service.
So wait, you're saying they're cheapest chips, buffalo chips?
Yes, they are. Oh, fantastic! Like P-47 strike in
Yes.
the center here. That's gonna mop everything up. I mean, the T-34 is gonna try his darndest, but the Marquis can come in and knock out these Panzer Squadron.
Well,
Maybe.
and that's true, except that yeah.
No.
But the
Oh.
Legion, but the Commander Legion, the Legion Commander essentially coming on in. I'm not exactly sure where I was going with that.
Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
He definitely needed that sniper, and now he's starting to mop up these Panzer Squads. We're seeing Nostovaki being brought in. It's also not really the best infantry to be bringing in as the Finns. Once again, you really just want to be doing your Kari spam. But at least have mollies.
Yeah, but you know, having Molly is ooh a Ju-87 to the north. I'm not sure he's gonna get taken out, but I think there's gonna be just enough scatter that the Sherman might survive. Yes.
Just
81
enough
million
50
just went back
cows.
the other way. Yeah, well, I mean, and everything has a 50 cal on the Allied side here. I mean, what do you expect? It's you know, if you're getting Lend-Lease equipment, of course everything American's going to have a 50 caliber machine gun on it.
They even put a 50 cal on top of the 50 cal.
Exactly.
Called the
I mean,
M16.
M16 or M6D? I don't know. Question for the philosophers. Looking down to the south where things had gone rather direly over here for Von Lucy initially, it's closer to a 50-50. It's still not perfect. No one's expecting it to be. But you know, that's kind of life. You know, things happen, and you just try to find a way to move past stuff overall. So it works out pretty well.
Yeah, but Von Lucy's definitely not doing good, losing by a 16-8 right now. If it is at least just losing by a run tick, that's definitely much more manageable. But as we see, if it keeps up like this, he's going to be dead in 10 minutes. And really, it's just coming down to really good infantry play from Xstark. He's just been managing to win those important infantry engagements in these towns and forest fights.
True, and part of that has been, I think, also just deck management, just in general.
Yeah.
I think you're right that the Nostovaki, don't get me wrong, they're cute and all that, but I'd rather bring my chalks, you know?
Yeah. And your Kari spam, you really just spam your Karis when playing Finns. Shows Shumois,
Exactly.
Panzerfaust, Molotovs, and SVTs is a nasty combo. Who needs machine guns when you got all of that?
At that point, you know, you can just get rid of these French guys, get rid of these British guys. You know, it's really just kind of saying like chalks away, and then you know that went off into the big old blue. But Tirali 8, you can even see that the Tirali 8, 2 to 3. Yes, these guys. Ooh, wow, that big boom there. Jeez, what that hit that? That wasn't the 81 mil. What that killed that?
Something.
I don't know. It was something. It was something big, and there's a lot of airplanes up in the sky, and that Spitfire, I would not be surprised if it goes down. Between the 20 mils and the Brewster Buffaloes. Yeah, he's smoking hardcore, man.
Yeah, I don't know if the Brewster's going to be able to catch up, yo.
And that's why you never smoke in an airplane. You don't smoke in an airplane for that very reason. They have the service announcements and everything, man.
Really sort of buckled in for turbulence.
Exactly. Yeah. But it is still 14-10. We're seeing a lot of that coming.
Down
I think over
south.
here in this kind of middle position. Down south is quite dire, I would argue, over here for Xstark. But he's maintaining a pretty positive attitude about it, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's a great turn of events here for Von Lucy here. Getting those Yakaris into the forest and clearing it out a little bit. I mean, just being able to recontest back into that forest is a pretty big advantage, because usually once you lose it, it's very hard to take it back. But Xstark didn't really get much anti-tank along the edge of the forest to deny enemy reinforcements, and now he's going to have to contend with the Finns in the forest.
And that's their natural habitat. You know, you were saying before that one of the things that has been successful for Xstark over Von Lucy, which may turn into Von Lucercy, um, has been just that infantry fight overall. But I would also argue that until these hit squads of Buffaloes, a lot of this too has actually been really, I would argue, decent air usage as well.
Yeah, from Xstark's side,
Yes, sir.
100%. He's been doing a fantastic job. As you're seeing another P-47 bombing run being brought in. But Von Lucy's starting to bring in quite a few more airplanes now. We're seeing another cluster bomb strike, but not getting a kill. The anti-air, even though it's really just 50 cals, is doing more than enough to ward off those Stukas.
Well, I think I'm kind of interested to see how these 40 mils do, because this 40 mils, the first one's really out in the field now, and the Brewster is not the most heavily armored. Yikes. GMC going down to the north. I think that actually had some artillery there.
Yep.
But not the most beefy of planes, despite having the namesake that they do.
Yeah. They are cheap, so if you lose them, doesn't really matter too much. Yeah, I mean, Xstark is still trying to make his offensive happen in the center. If he can kick Von Lucy off the hill, that'd be a really good position for him to be in, just heading into C phases. And you can just defend from the high ground, of course, but, I mean, Von Lucy is doing his best to try to keep a foothold on said hill. I mean, down south, he's completely got to the other side of the forest, and I feel, oh my god, he's pushing back, he got a 12-12.
Yes, but I think the reason for that is that, to a certain extent, Xstark may have over-committed troops. Like, right now, I feel like where the chalks are supposed to be going, I'm not a big fan of this. I feel like if your enemy has any kind of, foothold in that forest, it's time for you just to say, you know what? And there we go. He's changed that kind of unload, and the chalk's going into the trees. That's the right call.
Yeah, and this main thing, getting those two flags under control. But yeah, Von Lucy he's starting to slowly turn this around now. He doesn't have that central hill. He's pretty much lost at this point, apart from the Cavaria up here. But apart from that, at least getting that southern forest is buying him quite a bit of time.
It certainly is. It certainly is. But when things like the ISU 152 go down, that is a bit of a hassle.
And he only has one of those.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
But more Blenheims, and the Blenheims, surprising that they're getting as much play as they are, but they are probably one of the more effective moments here for those Finnish airborne opportunities.
Yeah, they're not really that bad. I mean, it's a rather outdated medium bomber by its period of the war, but it's cheap and heck, it can still drop bombs, so it doesn't matter too much.
Pioneers being sent into the south, a brave but foolish gesture. Not a big fan of that. M10 as well. M10 makes a little more sense. If you remember, the Finns over here don't have hefty amounts of anti-tank past the A phase. But regardless, we'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
Airstrike coming in the center. Actually, no, going after the Nostovaki. So, yeah, nice safe bombing run. And a very unsafe bombing run for those other guys. Yowza.
That was a good run. But yeah, this is getting pretty heavy in the air power now from both sides. I mean, very important kill was M10 going down there to a cluster bomb and strike. Down south, the Pioneers taking quite a bit of firepower from that forest. I think the main thing is having the anti-tank rifle infantry just to snipe those transports is definitely saving Von Lucy's arse.
So it does seem to be the case now, doesn't it?
Indeed, and the 105 and the M10 down south should be able to maybe provide enough fire support to keep those Finns down for a little bit. Yeah. Pretty nasty stuff.
It's nasty stuff, but remember, at the same time, we're going into 20 minutes into Phase C now. So, like you said, this is where Von Lucy theoretically gets a giant shot in the arm in terms of eco.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like you said, though, it doesn't mean that he has a crazy amount of fresh toys to play with. And there's a 15-9, which is even more of a hassle.
Oh god, yeah. That's a good catcher from Xstark, yeah. Just giving him a little bit more point to bleed before he probably starts to lose that heading into C phase. But even then, Xstark has played pretty well with his income so far. I mean, Von Lucy's down a heck of a lot of points. If Xstark can at least just keep it at a +1 point bleed heading into C phase, he should be fine.
You know, should is a funny word.
It is.
Like, those bombs shouldn't be able to blow apart an entire, half a forest here. This Sturmy shouldn't be called a Sturmy, but he is. And this Elu over here, shouldn't be able to be given free reign across this entire part of the theater, but there's very little now. At long last, there's a 40 mil being brought in, but he has been able to kind of fly circles around his opponents. So what we're seeing, I think, is some oversights over here from Xstark, which have certainly kept, I think, Von Lucy in the game a little bit more.
Well, really good. Those Hellcat strikes have been really on point, knocking out Sturmy this time, and Xstark is going to be able to get a foothold back into that southern forest, so that's going to give him a really good, flag advantage. I mean, definitely going to keep hold of that +2. But central position is starting to collapse here a little bit. Only one M10, and Von Lucy has a lot of Yakaris and 2 KV runs being brought in. The only 2 KV runs Ritz Finn's meant to capture. Literally. They only meant to get 2 of them. And then a single KV2, I believe, which they never used because they realized it was a really stupid tank.
Well, they also were like, yo, man, we can only put 5 shells in this thing? Like, dude, I can carry more on my back with a mule.
The Russians left a horse in the turret.
Exactly.
What is it, a barn?
That's General Horse to you.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, yeah, like you said, in the center, we do have this Commandant Legionnaire, this M10, and now a Stewart, which seems almost laughably overmatched by all the Jakaris with the P and Panzerfaust 60s.
Yep.
But the Panzerfaust 60s aren't the major killer here. Now we have ourselves an actual gunfight.
Yeah, those KV-1s are usually not the scariest tanks in the road, but against First French with not a whole lot of heavy armor or anti-tank, they can prove to be a pretty tough customer.
Yep. Especially when they can shoot while the other guy keeps moving, which is a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
So not a whole lot there any longer.
It should start to open up center here for Von Lucy, and you've got a whole bunch of infantry being poured in, which is exactly what Xstark needs to do. Just try to hold down that town for as long as possible. But he's still getting that +2, 16-8. It's only 2 minutes or so, 2.5 minutes for Von Lucy does have to tap out.
That's for sure. That's absolutely true. And it's one of those things that I think that these Tyroliers over here, they could hold things back. They could. I'm not saying it's going to, but they could hold this back.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, looking at this, they really shouldn't be able to do that. The Kleenie moving on in, I mean, the Tyrolier over here, they're going to have the little hand grenades, but the hand grenades aren't going to do diddly squat. So.
Yeah. Yeah, having no anti-tank now in the center is really going to screw him over, because his KV-1 can just run through willy-nilly. But, I mean, yeah, the Kari's getting caught out in the open. That's not going to be great for their health.
No, it's not.
This is getting pretty tense. I mean, down south, Von Lucy is trying to get back into that forest, but he needs just a little bit more forces to try and push his way back into it. And he's bringing in a platoon of Yakaris now and some Nostovakis into the center here. I mean, his income is definitely going to come in pretty clutch, but he needs it. He needs all that income now. He needs a forward loan, like payday payment. Payday loan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, he needs cash now, and he can't really call it J.D. Wentworth because he's on the wrong side of the army for that, so.
Do you think he could, like, trade in one of those KV-1s for just, like, a quick cash payment?
If this was the 80s, then yes. Yes, because at that point, Soviet equipment's going to go to anybody for free, so.
Pepsi.
Exactly, and I was going to bring up the Pepsi Navy, but you preempted me there, sir. Yeah, but when Bofors, for example, he's just kind of lofting rounds downrange, not doing a whole lot, and like, doesn't surprise me either. I mean, think about it.
Yeah,
but,
no AP ammo.
The Chikari down here, they have to contend with Pioneers. And for the record, these are the Pioneers that have the double flamethrowers and 3 Thompsons.
And fanatical.
Yeah, freaking terrifying, man.
Yeah, that's a nasty, nasty squad. I mean, they do have bolt action rifles, which frankly you do want to turn off so they don't give away your position early on. But apart from that, they are a really good infantry unit.
But isn't that always the way with a man? Like, you want your man to have automatic weapons and flamethrowers. If he's got, just bolt actions, that's such a turnoff. That's a swipe left right there.
It definitely is, It's only Emron Garand or bust.
True.
It was my
That's
standard.
true. My man needs a semi-auto, or I don't want none of that. Yeah, I get you.
Yes, yes. Oh no, I mean, Von Lucy, he's doing a decent job against these French infantry, and most of them are almost completely pinned down already. There we go, the flamethrowers.
He's got, like, 18
Oh my
seconds.
god!
It's so close.
It's 13! It's his... I mean, Xstark just needs to breathe on him, and he loses.
That's true. That's true. But I think that's because Xstark has powerful breath. Not that it smells, but he's just that powerful breath here. And it's 15 seconds, but the middle of the map is folding, and I think, yep, that's that. Oh, jeez.
What the hell? Why is he getting these flags? Because there's something...
central position.
Okay.
Yep, the change of command is coming all down.
Up north is... He's doing the Nostovaki rush, and... They need to get, pronto. 11? Oh my god. This is edge of your seat right here. I mean, he can definitely get that one flag up north where the bimp is. If he rushes.
The funny thing about this is that there's a 157 mil that's been there almost since the beginning of the game. And he's there just to shut down the one Nostovaki move. That's it.
Yeah. It's gonna come in pretty clutch here. And that one bimp is holding onto that flag. He's doing his best, but way too much firepower here to stop him. And that should tip things over even more. I mean, Von Lucy, he needs a +2, not so much in terms of, like, the points, but just to give him enough of a flag buffer so he doesn't just lose.
That is pretty darn accurate here.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there still are M1919s over here in the center, and these Yukari are not going to be able to go across the open fields, which... You can't lose territory anywhere. And actually, wait a second. So there's JUD-7 to the north, and so you got the M10. There's a trolley over here that's going to go probably bring this back close to a 12-12. I think at this point, if I'm Von Lucy, I'm just kind of saying, you know what? Find me the easiest flags to take, and I'm going to go and drop infantry right behind it and just hold it for the 20 seconds that I need.
Yeah. He's still trying to take that southern position, but there's quite a bit of reinforcements being brought in. He's going to be able to take it, unfortunately. But also, Xstark, he has those bolt action rifles on, so those Legionnaires, Superiors are given away in a position, unfortunately. And if they go down, that's really the heavy-duty firepower.
That is the heavy-duty firepower, but we still have the M1919s over here, and these guys are fighting Jakaris in the open.
Yeah.
So they'll eventually take them out. But... Yes.
This is nuts. We're seeing a push here from Xstark onto the hill to regain that flag, but with not much anti-tank air and that Kalimi or KV-1 roaming about, don't know how our Xstark's push is going to go. Just trying to buy time. He just needs time. But 15-9, perfect for Von Lucy. That's definitely given him a lovely buffer.
It's given him a lovely buffer. It's 14-10. It's going to be like this constantly, too. So it's kind of like... Where can he go and throw material back? So let's be fair here. Xstark has been playing a rather decent game. Has it been perfect? No. But Lord knows I'm not even remotely close to perfect on this game either. It's just that teeny, tiny saves that could have made things so much easier. This could have been over at this point, and I think it's slipping away from him here at the last second. This is just a heartbreak if this is what goes on.
Yes, it is. I mean, the hill has been knocked out. Finally, a cluster bomber actually got like a kill on a tank and didn't miss. And in a very opportune time, knocking out a M10. And so, Xstark's infantry are now surrounded. There goes the flag, 17-7. Oh, this is... Oh, if Xstark loses, yes, I'm going to be very sad for him.
But you know what? You said that Von Lucy should play the Finns as a Maverick division. And I think it's only because he didn't play it as a Maverick division, excuse me, that this opportunity is even here for him.
Yeah. No, I definitely see what you mean. He wasn't doing that well early on, and if this was both Maverick and he wasn't doing well early on, he probably would have lost because the income would have been more equal. But with him having the double income, it allowed him to make his terrific push at the 11th hour essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So many, I mean, he's finally just spamming Yakaris now, which is all he needs. Just spamming Yakaris left and right, up and down.
And you know what? Maybe that's what he was doing in the first place. Is lulling his opponent to a false sense of security, overconfidence at the last second, and Xstark pulls out. It is now the red wedding for the Starks. And at the end of this, you can see it's a 1,000 kill difference, and I'm sure a lot of that over here happened much closer to the end. Just take a quick look at the chronology on that. Okay, maybe not tons and tons, but we're talking the last 5 minutes or so, definitely showing a little bit more bloody.
Yeah, and more expensive losses overall. I mean, Yozakari's only like 20 points, but Xstark is losing tanks and anti-aircraft guns and all of that good stuff.
I think the biggest thing that kept Von Lucy in this game is his ability to start downing some of that aircraft.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was the part that ended up losing it for Xstark, is that he did not do any kind of counter battery fire.
Yeah, he was a little bit slow in that regard.
Exactly. We had a couple of howitzers, but there were 12 mortars that never saw the field.
Yeah, there was barely any artillery in that match. Like, there was no artillery, not even an off-map.
No, there was an 81 mil to the north here for the Finns, but that was about it.
That was about it, yeah. And I mean, the kill was the main thing. Was that P-47? Like, yeah, the air power was extremely on point for Xstark, and when that fell away, it kind of buggered him up.
And just 15 seconds from the end.
Oh, what a clutch. And honestly, really good play from both sides. I mean, this is from the Division 5, which is the lowest division in the SC League. But both players, like, played out pretty well. I hope that, next time they come around, they'll go up a division or two at least, because they definitely deserve it after seeing that.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But any other final thoughts there, sir?
No.
Alright, guys, in that particular case then, until next time, I'm Con Ulrich.
I'm Rangru, take it easy.